Hello, this is Eileen, the Environmental Educator, and in this video we are going to talk about just pure absurdity and that tackling plastic pollution with a net of law and chemical coding. It's just absurd. So this was on Environmental News Network today, which is November 21st, 2022. And this was a headline out there. And if you click on this, it brings you to qutedu.au, which is Queensland University of Technology, qutedu.au. So this is down under. And a big group of their workers here, I mean, look at that. Nobody wants to see that, okay? Just all this plastic floating in waters. But there's much better solutions than what they're proposing. So here is their WizKid team, an innovative proposal to tackle the global plastic pollution crisis with a combination of DNA-like encoding of plastics and international law has been put forward by a transdisciplinary team of QUT researchers. So that's that college there. Here's the researchers. Look, they are brilliant. Except what's the most cardinal rule of anything? Oh, I know. Oh, that's right. Keep it simple, stupid. And what they have not even addressed in their solution is how about we just stop using plastics, especially all of our disposable plastics, gain individual cooperation. How about we use hemp where plastics have been used? Okay, that is, of course, nowhere in their brilliant, ridiculous plan. Um, but they say plastic pollution has been identified as an environmental problem similar in scope and complexity as the global challenges like climate change, of which the environmental educator would have prevented both had any environmental voice allowed solutions since November of 93. We wouldn't have the plastic pollution that we have today, and we would have stopped talking about climate change long ago. But the QUT research team from chemistry and law have published their multi-pronged approach to polymer chemistry. And they list the researchers. It says that tracing plastic resolves the anonymity of plastic waste. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Instead of going to whole big processes of trying to trace plastic, why don't we just end our use of plastic, especially disposable plastic? And, anything that is plastic can be made of hemp, and we can eliminate all of the disposable ones, and we can use hemp for, the long-term ones, like, nettings. There's a lot of things that plastic's used for, but hemp could be. And then the plastic waste at the end of its useful life wouldn't be there. But instead, they decided that if a technology existed to allowed to give unique DNA to each batch of plastic that was produced, plastic waste could be traced back to the producer, giving the information stored in the DNA, and it could be simply read out. Now they're saying one problem is that um, right now there's not, although point reading information from specific sequenced DNA defined polymers is challenging, and however, new and simple technologies for reading information from such sequenced defined polymers enabled into plastics are emerging. But right now, they're not really there. But now this will be a whole nother field, a whole nother process on top of producing the plastics that we simply shouldn't be producing. Now we're going to be producing them in a way that we can now test them, a whole huge testing process to find out where they come, so that, as they put it, they can enforce responsibility on polluters. So they're defining the polluters as the people who produce the plastic. When the people who produce the plastic are truly only producing a need of people that are going to use it in products, and that is products that humans demand. So the first thing you want to do is you want to gain individual cooperation to have them stop demanding plastic products, okay, which is so easy to do if they were environmentally literate and we had leadership, by example, and we got on the education and agenda that the world needs. We wouldn't even be talking about this, and these alleged brilliant people who really aren't very bright at all would be meddling and creating bigger problems, bigger mountains, out of mountains that are pretty big, but now you're going to make the mountain of plastic waste be bigger with now identifying where that waste came from based on DNA. And it took 7 people to put this together, and all 7 of these people somehow thought that this absolute lunacy is a good idea and it's going to solve anything, instead of realizing that it's just adding more abusive processes to a system that, if we just eliminated, we wouldn't have the problem, and we wouldn't have to be going through all of their testing and international law that they're proposing. But they say here, a considerable challenge is the implementation in international frameworks so that malicious actors can't identify loopholes. Oh, okay. There's always loopholes. You think these people who came up with this bird brain idea aren't going to have a ton of loopholes in their thinking? I wouldn't bet on that. But these people who think they're brilliant said a careful and coordinated international approach is of the essence, yet establishing it will require initial careful research into the underpinning international governance principles and subsequent coordination approaches for implementation. We don't need any implementation. They say their paper is a discussion starter. Okay, well, you know what? That paper put together by people with impressive titles, doctor, another doctor, okay, an associate professor. Um, it should be thrown into the trash bin. Okay, this should not be a discussion starter. Anyone with an intelligence this shouldn't have ever come to the table, because if there was anyone with an intelligence involved here, they would have said, this is ridiculous. We are compounding the problem. But obviously they couldn't figure that out. These group of people that, yeah, think they're brilliant and that they've come up with something. And of course, ENN, Environmental News Network, now they will not tell you like the actual solutions the world needs that would solve our problem, and all the environmental voices that have prevented the solutions the world needs, but they will promote these people here. Okay, it's just, they say the combined approach of polymer science and international law is the single outcome of enforcing responsibility on polluters. And that is just so ridiculous. The polluter is the person who demanded the product, not the person who made the plastic. Again, more ridiculous. It says the paper says that identifying the people responsible for the plastic pollution could lead to a phasing out of plastics. Oh, well, you know what could lead to a phasing out of plastics is if we would just do it. Not by jumping through hoops and creating testing, for pulling plastic pollution out of waterways and everything, and then testing it, and then going back and telling the person who manufactured the plastic that the person who used this disposable bottle and threw it away isn't the problem, but the company who made the plastic bottle is. What we need to do is we need to set up our society so that we just end our use of disposable everything, including plastics. Okay? No one time use products. And durable products need to be hemp. And we need people's cooperation because there's many things that people do, many disposable products that people just need to stop using. And then that will end our use of them. And the environmental educator would have achieved what all of these, you just have to laugh at them. Just they think they're so smart, and they're not really. But this is what it takes to have a job in the environmental field, okay? People with bird brain ideas and ridiculous doctor titles, and they think they're smart, and they come up with the absolute most ridiculous plans that then get, promoted by people that won't give you good environmental information. So never forget that, people. And we can't be letting absolute fools be creating more processes and more industries to find out where our plastic waste is coming from. We know where it's coming from. And even though these people and all environmental voices aren't smart enough to figure out how to end it, I am. It's just to date, no one will allow it. Now, if Project Veritas would do their job, that would start ending. Alex Jones, do his job. Independent media, do their job. But they won't. So here we are. So when you read ridiculous things like this, okay, from these people, remember it's only because idiots get employed and the person with actual real solutions is kept on the sidelines. Stay tuned, people.